Hey guys, how's it going? Well, here's this new shop truck. This is this 99 Dodge Ram two-wheel drive that I bought a while back. And like any cheap truck, it needs its share of love done to it. And one thing it needs for sure is it needs some front end work really bad. Because this thing is scary to drive. It's got about, oh man, at least a quarter round of steering play in it, and it's bad. Clunks, pulls, and there's all kinds of things. So I've been under this thing, checking it out, and got a assessment of what it needs to start out with. May find more as I go, but did that, got some parts ordered, got some parts in. So we're going to be doing 2 outer tie rod ends, doing an idler arm and a pitman arm today, hopefully, if everything goes okay. And also got 2 new ball joints, upper ball joints for it. I'm not going to do those today because you have to have a press for it, and they need done, but they're not terrible yet. And also got to fix a leaking tire back there too. So anyway, the time is coming near that this thing has got to be on the road, because we're about to the decision point on this car over here. Anyway, if we go out here to the outer tie rod end, cool. I can tell that's my thing I'm sitting on creaking there, by the way. I can look at this without shaking it back and forth too hard. I can see it's moving right here. I think that kid down there just said the F-bomb. Tell you what, parents these days are not going to win any awards for knowing what your kids are up to. You never will. Parents suck these days for the most part. But anyway, enough of that. So I'm going to go ahead. I think what I'm going to do to preserve the alignment as closely as possible, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do this outer tie rod in first by itself, and then probably do the idler arm under here, and go from there with it. It's not going to play too nice going at that way, is it? Alright, I want the fork. You get the fork. There's the sakes. Oh, I got to stand up for this. So don't bang my kneecap again. There we go. Didn't want to give up, did it? You always put the nut, keep the nut on the top of it, so when this thing finally breaks loose, it doesn't go flying away somewhere. Ding. Now I get some potentially more bad news. Yeah, the upper's not terrible, but it needs to be replaced, and the bottom's, I think the bottom's okay. Lower. So let's just see here. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's garbage. It's garbage. It's dry. You must have been greasing it. You know, suspension components that last longer when you actually grease the things. So. Yeah, it hadn't pushed. Okay, anyway, that's that. So work on getting that tie rod end out. Alright then, I'm going to reach in my box of tricks here that Rock Auto sent me and see what I pull out. Tie rod end, that's what we need. Hope it's the right one. Okay. Has this been greased? Doesn't look like it. Grease fitting's not even on it. Make sure it's the right one now before we proceed. Well, looks like it. That's good. Good, very good. Alright, so I'll need to put the grease fitting on this. And all that, and then we'll put her in. I took some measurements, hopefully I can get my alignment back pretty close to the way it was. But anyway, we'll do our best. Now I got these tie rod ends. These are TRWs, and it says right on the box they're made in USA. So they were on the clearance rack at Rock Auto. I think those were $5 a piece. They call it manufacturer's closeout. So, all right then. See you in a bit. All right, done with that tie rod. Got my tape put back where all the measurements are very close, so hopefully it will be, the alignment will be close enough. And won't burn the tires off. So there we go. That's how you do a tie rod generally on one of these. It's not too hard to do. Whew. Second one don't want to go. That's a 25. How heavy is this thing? I forgot. It's pretty heavy. Well, we get set up for another approach here. Get out here, bee. Okay then, so here is the old and the new idler arms compared. This is the old one, and it actually was okay. It's tight. I feel so tight. Can't really move it. Can't really move this up here, but we got a good deal on a new one. So this one is quite a bit larger, and first it made me wonder if it was actually going to be the right one. Appears to be fine, so no problem with that. I think we're good there. So it's just the way it is. But I'm all for larger, suspension parts, so I think we're gonna be good. So I'm gonna finish putting the other grease fitting in here and throw her on. Okay, I've got you under here with me now, and I hope I don't make you seasick with the camera, but in this step, we've already put on our new idler arm over there. Nothing to that, just a couple nuts that come off and you break it loose from the drag link. It's pretty straightforward. So then you move on to this if you're doing this, or if you're just putting on a Pitman arm, you can come to this step. But anyway, a few things to note about this. First thing you need to do is take your toolage, hammers, pickle fork, tie rod end separator, whatever you got, and knock that loose back there, that joint loose. It wasn't quite as bad as the other one over there, but it wasn't easy. Get that loose. It looks like it may not be, but it is loose actually on this one. And then you gotta take off this large nut right here on the bottom of the steering shaft. And I didn't actually have the SAE version that takes this off, but I used a 33mm socket. I've got a set of deep wells, and just loosen that up. And here's something where we have to use a little bit of special toolage. And this thing here is what's called a Pitman arm separator. I guess you could call it that, Pitman arm mover. But what the deal is this Pitman arm is splined into that shaft right there. It's an interference fit, so it won't just fall off. And you do not want to get a pickle fork in there and try to knock it off. So sure hope that was a motorcycle. So we take this little guy, and all it does is kind of slips up in here. I'm going to try to hold you, and I'm going to watch what I'm doing too over it. And then you tighten the center part down like so, and you can't do it with your fingers. And that, now I'm going to take my ratchet. It's got a 3/4 inch socket on the end of it, and of course I don't have it set the right way, but I'm just going to start. Hope I can do this one-handed. If not, I have to hold it, but I'm just going to start tightening down on that, and that thing should start to pop loose. Kind of keep your face out of the way. Now I'm going to have to, I can't film this because I can't turn it with one hand. So let me work on this. I've got an extension bar I'm going to put on this, but you just got to man this thing off here. Use your man hands on it, and you'll finally start drawing off here. They're reluctant sometimes, but they'll come. So, and then when you get ready to put it back together, all you're going to do, you don't have to use a tool. You just put this thing back up there as far as it'll go by hand, and you just crank down on that nut nice and tight. You're all done. So, hope I explained this sufficiently. Okay, one thing I wanted to tell you I did here is that I got this thing turned down as far as it go, and it really did not want to go any further. It really got tight, so it wasn't pulling on this any further, and so I didn't want to risk breaking my tool there. So what I did is I just did the old shock treatment with the hammer, just carefully knocked it on that, just like you do anything else under here, on this here several times, and it just kind of shocks it loose, and now it's coming out. It seems like it's coming out easier, so hopefully in a few I'll have this thing off. Okay, then here is the old Pitman arm, and on the face of it, it doesn't look like it's that bad. It's got, if I can get it moving here, it's got a little bit of movement in it, but you'd be surprised how much steering movement is lost between the output shaft of the steering gear and this thing, just by moving that much, because it's got probably quarter to a half inch of slop in it, and that's actually a lot. So these things have to be tight. So it's junk also, so we have another one. Let's go dig it out. All right. Looks like it to me. As a matter of fact, that one that was on it, TRW. That is a 68 or 9 auto stick Beetle just going by right there, because he doesn't shift gears. He went on down the street this time. But he turns in across the road over here, and I can tell it's auto stick the way it sounds. Kudos for him driving that. So anyway, obviously the new one of these is nice and tight. So I got to put in grease fitting at least on that end. And one thing to remember on these when you put them in, that these you see they're at 12 o'clock and at 6 o'clock they're large splines. See there? So make sure when you put this thing back in that you orient it so those go in the proper area on the output shaft of the steering gear. Don't be a ham fist and just try to ram it on wherever it's at, because you're doing it wrong. So okay, put the grease fitting in, put the thing back in, tighten it up. Don't forget your dust seals and your collar key and all that good stuff. You know about this. Okay, here's the left outer tie rod end, and it wasn't terrible. It had a little bit of slop in it, but there again, it died from a lack of lubrication. So the rust in it, it's not supposed to be rust in there, it's supposed to be grease in there. You see these little things here? Well, you can get this device called a grease gun that fits on this, and it forces grease into these, and then it keeps it from wearing out for a long time. I know that's a foreign idea to people sometimes, because cars these days usually use non-greasable fittings, or you know, joints and stuff like that. So whatever, we're gonna do our thing, guys. We're gonna put the replacement tie rod in, and then I'm gonna start making plans to replace these ball joints up there. So I think that is actually going to conclude this video for what I'm going to do on this. It's basically the same as the other side. Like I said, this wasn't intended to be an instructional video. This is just the highlights. So there's a lot of good videos out on YouTube how to do this. So, you know, please don't watch this video and then come back and say, well, you didn't show this, or you didn't show that, or you skipped this. It's not, I just told you, it's not an instructional video. It's just the highlights. So anyway, thanks for watching. Have a good one. See ya. Uh-oh. Looks like this one's gonna have to be replaced quicker than the other one. Well, they'll all be replaced at the same time, but this one, look at this. That ain't good. Well, get the ball joint press.